So, ladies and gentlemen, we have another information. A VDP position was attacked in Banfora today. This position was attacked by the JNIM terrorists, but the enemies were repelled and a heavy casualty on the enemy side was recorded according to reports. This news is coming out of Banfora. Based on sources on the ground, what we heard was that they attacked these VDP outposts believing that they have the numerical advantage. And according to what we heard, they've attacked this particular VDP location multiple times today, but they were not successful. Ladies and gentlemen, recently I've been getting comments on this platform that we should not go into the details and the paraffils of what happened. But ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, the VDPs in that particular location continue to stand tall. Yeah, what I've noticed based on the reports I've been getting recently is that the JNIM knows that the VDP is enormously, unimaginably large. The VDP is just too large. I don't know if there is any fighting force in Africa that has the numerical capacity of the VDP. But sometimes what comes to my mind is, what is the capability of this numerical capacity? According to the information we have, about 3 waves of JNIM attack came just today alone. And these particular VDP units continue to inflict heavy casualty on this JNIM set. And as we speak, they have been able to derive peace through overwhelming firepower. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another information. The Burkinabe defense minister announces that 72% of Burkinabe territory, 72%, was cleared of terrorists. When he talks about the fact that 72% of this territory has been cleared of terrorists, it means that there is total civilian activity, no terrorist threats, no attack at all. These places are completely rid of terrorism. They continue to push. The terrorist sect continues to lose ground as they continue to drive them closer to some of the borders. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue. Imagine with all the Western backings, these terrorists have not even, you can see they are heavily funded, heavily paid. We are seeing empire real estate equipment, but Burkina Faso continues to prove resilient. A lot of people will say, why has the Burkinabes not just completely overrun these guys? I think they are the son of the soil. They have time. They are not rushing. And that is why they're saying now that 72.7%, that's almost 73% of the Burkinabe territory in this modern Africa, where terrorism is almost like next door neighbor. Burkina Faso is standing tall and now declaring that 72.7% of the Burkinabe territory is now cleared of terrorism. To back this up, Burkina Faso just launched their new stadium today, where they invited a lot of football greats in Africa to come and open up the stadium. That is one of the most beautiful, well-equipped stadium in Africa. The so-called Burkina Faso, second poorest country in the world at about, I think, 2020. Burkina Faso is always in between. In Africa, Burkina Faso was always between the second to the last and last. Look at Burkina Faso today. There was a time I could remember during the time of Muhammadu Bura, when the president of Nigeria sent vehicles into Niger Republic. That's to help them. We need to send them aid. We need to send them vehicles. I think we can't, with the way the economy situation of both countries is going right now, we can't put ourselves in the same conversation. They have petroleum, large amount of petroleum that is good enough to feed the country, to stabilize the economy of the country, to take their currency. That is when they finally break up from the CFA franc to a whole new level. Ladies and gentlemen, and now they have said, compared to 69%, 72.7%, compared to 69% in 2023, a progress of 3.7% in 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, in my own opinion, I think they've made significant progress. This is a fight against the forces of neocolonialism. It's not going to be easy, but these countries are fighting for their independence. So whoever think they got their independence on the seat of diplomacy, you don't have no independence. The true independence is gotten through power, through strength. It's not gotten on the seat of diplomacy. That is not what the Western world, that's not what they believe in. In the Western order of things, diplomacy, true respect, and true freedom is gotten in blood, sweat, and tears. Is gotten with overwhelming military power. And if you see the rate at which the AES states are just beefing up their security, a lot of African countries are behind. A lot of their so-called haters from the ECOWAS bloc are far behind them. We can see for ourselves. Now they are beginning to stand up to the level of even the global empire real estate, state-of-art wartime equipment that we are seeing in Ukraine. The FPV drone, the kamikaze drone. Their troops are having some of the best experience in the world. All because of what? They demand to be free. They demand to be sovereign. They demand to take control of their own sovereignty. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are. And now they are declaring that they've made 3.7% progress in 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, what will the next 4 years be? Now here we are. We have the president of my country. You have the president of Cameroon. You have the president of Mauritania. People who are older than the atomic bomb. Continue to tell us and try to educate us about democracy and why we all should employ democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I can no longer embrace democracy because we've seen what democracy does to the people. Look at the people of Kenya. Look at the people of Cameroon. Look at the question the young lady asked from the president of Benin. And even in Ivory Coast right now, we are seeing people protesting heavily. When Alain Faso died, we had some information from higher authorities that the reason why the president of Ivory Coast is looking for a combat is because he wants to avoid the current presidential election that is about to happen, and he wants to continue to stay in power. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big progress. More power to the VDP and more power to the fighting force of the homeland. And this is the reason why. This is the fuel that guides me to continue to be a Pan-Africanist, to continue to support Pan-Africanism. And until Nigeria wakes up, we'll continue to support those who wants to be free. Because right now, I don't think my people are prepared to be free.